My then girlfriend 27 female told me my best friend 26 male-s girlfriend 25 female had a text relationship with another guy that I don't know. Now after they got engaged. I don't know if I should tell him. Right. So this is a bit of a long and convoluted story, but bear with me because it's been eating me up to be honest, and I don't know what to do because I can't talk to my friends about it. I had been dating my ex for 3 years mostly on and off. But the last year had been full on. Mostly living together with her daughter and the such. We are in an interesting friend group as two of my best friends from childhood just so happen to be dating her two best friends. Oh sure. It's a bit weird. But hey. It just kind of happened. Let me just kind of make a roster here so hopefully it's a bit easier to understand. Antoine 28 male is dating Sarah 28 female. Stu 26 male is now engaged to Alice 26 female. I 27 male was dating Anna 27 female. For the record, Anna and Sarah are super tight. While they are still very close to Alice. They aren't as tight as with each other. However, Alice and Sarah were roommates at the time this story came about and have been friends since Alice moved to our state. So they have a separate bond as well. So back probably at the end of last year or beginning of this year, Anna comes back from a one-on-one hangout with Sarah and she is, I supposed you'd say, shocked. I asked her how it went and she immediately told me she found out some big news. But she couldn't tell me. I grew curious because we'd tell each other everything and asked her why. She eventually said because it had caused big damage to our friend group. Totally ruining friendships. I started thinking of friend group news that could damage the friend group this much, and I remember a time where Alice was talking about her ex. While the subject of her ex came up organically, we asked her about who she had dated before Stu. And she had been dating this guy when she lived in another state before she moved to our state. I remember getting a weird vibe from how she was talking about him because he has apparently still been throwing I miss you messages back to her. So I hit my ex with a complete stab in the dark and said, is Alice cheating on Stu with her ex? Lo and behold, my ex turned white and went silent. So I pressed it a bit more and she kind of reluctantly admitted it was and began explaining what happened. Apparently, Alice had been having a text relationship with her ex. They had discussed their remaining strong feelings for each other and had even sent Zul texts back to each other pics as well if I remember correctly. They had specific code words that they would do to signal that their partner wasn't around, post a story about something specific, publicly say a specific code word, etc. so they could pick up a conversation with each other. They even had plans to meet up. She was going to fly out there telling Stu she was going to visit some old friends from home. But it was all really to meet up this guy. Here's the biggest kicker for me though, the only reason they stopped was because Alice's ex got cold feet before the trip and wanted it to end because he felt too guilty about his girlfriend. After explaining, Anna made me swear that I wouldn't tell anybody because Alice had told Sarah this in confidence. And Sarah told Emma this in confidence. And I had sort of stumbled my way hearing as well. Personally, I am certain we are the only people who know because of our extremely close relationships. Anna explained if I tell Stu, it would expose everyone involved and break everyone's trust. As I was dating Anna at the time. And also because Alice and her ex's underground relationship had ended. I decided that ignorance was bliss. A few months later, Anna and I break up. I am not going to go into too much detail. But the breakup itself could have been a bit more clean. Our relationship currently is meh. But I have respect for her and still want the best for her and her daughter. Additionally, Sarah and I used to be really good friends. She introduced me to Anna. And I introduced her to Antoine. And we'd frequently hit each other up to go out to eat or hang out. Since then, she hasn't reached out once. And I mentioned that I was hurt she hadn't been there for me after the breakup at a social gathering once since. But she still hasn't made any effort to be my friend again. It's been 6 months or so, and to be honest, it still hurts my feelings. I mention this because I want to be completely transparent about where I am at right now to make the best decision I can. Anywho, all this came to a head for me recently when Stu proposed to Alice. Now disconnected mostly with the chain of people who I heard the story about her ex with. I am torn on if I should tell Stu in some way. I even brought it up to my therapist, who really only said you've got a lot to think about. She did also ask me if I'd like to know if I were Stu. And I said I would. I am also leaving to the military in a month and believe the friend Group effects wouldn't be too terrible for me. But I am still very concerned for my friends. But I also don't want to make a rash decision based on if I am still hurt from the breakup. I just want to do what's right for my friend, especially before too much wedding planning gets underway, and because I would feel really guilty if he made such a serious life choice with this girl and it blew up in his face because I just sat on pertinent information. I've even floated around writing him an anonymous letter. Or doing the same, or sitting down with Alice privately and just letting her know that I knew and that it wasn't okay if she did it again. But I am still just torn. Despite having been together for 4 years, Stu also has received a lot of pressure from his traditional upbringing and hasn't seen eye to eye in the past to Alice on living together and a few other things in their relationship. So there could have been a gap in their relationship which caused her to cheat, which may have been plugged since they moved in together right before the engagement. So this ship may have sailed. My ex also has since expressed that she still doesn't want me to tell him, which I understand from his perspective. But it is still eating me up, to be honest. Perhaps I should talk to another not related friend in my friend group on what to do. Thank you in advance for all the help, I really appreciate it. Too long didn't read. In a big, tight friend group. Through a chain of close friends. I found out through my now ex that one of my best friend's now fiancé had had a text affair with her ex. And I am torn on what to do. What would you want is a good question. Additionally, the only reason this stopped was not because Alice got cold feet, but because the ex did. What happens when and if he breaks up with his girlfriend? Do you not think if he reaches out, that Alice isn't going to respond? She was already having an emotional affair with a very detailed scheme to deceive her boyfriend. She was already ready to lie and fly out to see him and physically cheat, knowing full well he was with someone. If you don't say anything and in 2 years your buddy finds out you knew, which will be worse? Telling him now or him knowing you didn't tell him? Nobody deserves to start a marriage in a lie. Thank you for the detailed response. I didn't even consider that aspect if things end with Alice's ex and his GF. Then who is to say Alice wouldn't do the same thing if he reaches out again? This really makes me feel like the right thing to do is to tell him. It's just hard to know I'd be breaking a friend group to do this. Do you have any advice on how I should tell him? Would doing it anonymously be possible, or would it be considered cowardly? If he is truly your friend, I'd tell him face to face. Tell him you're coming to him out of love and you'll support his decision no matter what. Give him the specific details you know. Write them down if you need to make sure you don't forget anything. If you know dates, let him know the dates. Like the trip she was planning. He doesn't have to tell her you're the one to tell him. But if he does, it is what it is. Don't tell anyone but him. You also don't know if he's had suspicions but was being gaslighted by her. In the end, you did the right thing. If your ex hates you, that's on her. This is about character and integrity. Second story. My 22 male ex 21 female cheated on me emotionally and physically with 2 other individuals and still wants me back. A little backstory about my family is that we were never a toxic family that had major issues, but more like a normal family, I guess. But the backstory of my ex was an overwhelming childhood. Dad having multiple families. Trauma from her previous ex cheating on her multiple times. Depression. Etc. We were together for almost a month. And nearing the end of the first month, all the small little issues started to form a crack in our relationship. Those issues took the form of her always on her phone texting and hiding it from me, and knowingly texting multiple guys while in a relationship with me. Every time I confronted her, she would say that she can't control what they want to do, and they just keep bothering her. But in the end she usually turns it around against me and say that she doesn't have that much love to be passing around to these guys, while giving this much love to me at the same time. Additionally, her cheating ex is still in her life till this date. They would game with each other quite frequently, and he used to call her baby while she was already TGT with me, which was one of the issues that we had too during this relationship. Generally it has been a very toxic and one-sided relationship, but I still find myself loving her a lot. Till one day, after I decided it was getting too toxic with all the gaslighting and manipulating from her side, I brought up breaking up with her, and oh boy, she was crying and super sad, saying how I was always someone she can see a future with and she wants to fix this. So I told her the only way for me to do that is by checking her phone. Behold, I find myself shaking while scrolling through her phone because there were texts of her sting other guys and her discussing details on what they did after they met up at a hotel, etc. She cheated on me. I couldn't take it and called it off immediately on the spot. Now she keeps coming back to me and say that she will change and understand that what she did was wrong. That she didn't mean to lie to me. She was just afraid that she would lose me if I found out about all these. Most importantly, she said that it was because what she had gone through with the trauma from her ex cheating on her, and her dad having other families outside, that it bled onto her doing it, and that's why she cheated. Despite her saying how much she hates cheaters and liars at the start of our relationship. I want to ask your advice whether it's really the traumas that made her cheat on me. Because I'm not someone that has been in a position where I have traumas, so I'd say it's rather hard for me to believe what she's saying. Too long didn't read. Ex with traumas cheated on me with two different person. Got caught and dumped. Blamed it on her past traumas being the reason she cheated and promised she will change. Do I believe her and start accepting her back in? You didn't trust her then, and you won't trust her now. If you don't blow up the relationship because she stays true to form and cheats on you again, you're going to turn into the toxic one in the relationship by constantly checking who she's with and what she's doing. You dodged a bullet. Take the win. Thanks for the advice. Appreciate it. I just find myself torn in between a possibility of fixing this. And our relationship becomes stronger, and I just want to get out of this hellhole. From experience, someone who blames their current actions on their past doesn't take responsibility or accountability for what they do, and it will be an excuse wheeled out repeatedly for any negative thing they do if you are prepared to accept it once. You can be inadvertently drawn to drama when you're younger. Someone giving you heightened emotions. Both positive and negative can be addictive, or it can feel like you're more attracted to them than you really are because of it. As you get older, you cut through the bullshit and see it for what it is. Honestly, you can entertain going back to her if you want. It will be a wild ride. But it will ultimately end up being a crap show. Third story. Do I still even love him? Boyfriend 26 male cheated multiple times on me 23 female going on dating sites. Is this love? My boyfriend of 4 years has cheated at least 5 times, and each time he betrayed me again was when I thought we were at a good decent point in our relationship and regaining trust. But then I'd find him on dating sites again. He never met up with anyone, but there were a couple girls he talked to that he exchanged snaps. I don't think as Zul, but honestly, I wouldn't know with, and I believe he possibly might have if given the opportunity. We have life 360 since the second time cheating, so it wouldn't be easy to explain where he was. However, he always comes begging for me back if I leave him. And telling me how I'm the one, and he wants to marry me. I moved out twice. The first time thinking that would show him I'm serious. When I took him back, I hoped that he now knew that I would leave him. It is extremely difficult for me to leave as I have no friends and family to help, and my finances are literally just enough to support me, but no extras, so it's hard to save up and secretly for a move. And he literally saw me bawling my eyes out, and he said he never wanted to see me like that again. I said that me moving back in was his last chance, but now this is the second time I've moved out since. Making it the third time total. So 3 last chances. Prior to this last current breakup, I had been questioning my love for him. He had cheated on me at least 5 times that I knew of, and I knew all trust was broken. I was often annoyed when he wanted to spend time with me. Or wanted to cuddle, something I normally love. I wasn't interested in X. I thought I didn't love him anymore, and I therefore definitely wouldn't go back to this relationship this time. Now I broke up this time. He has begged for me back and I did. Our makeup X is always amazing for some reason. Often way better than any other times, so I admit after like an hour of him begging me to get back with him, and then to spend the night led to just that. And I fear that me getting into sleeping with him again means he already thinks I'm past it already. Especially because he said one of the reason he cheats is because of the makeup X, so I feel like I may be enforcing that. I'm renting a room somewhere else, but I'm back to sleeping over every night with my BF. I'm not annoyed by his cuddling anymore, and I made the choice to come back no matter how tentatively. So is that love? Can he even change? He says it's mental health that he pushes people away and doesn't think people love him. Even though I've explained to him countless times how I'm not getting anything out of the relationship that would make me stay besides the fact that I love him. He's in debt and often drags me down too, so it's not like he spoils me, and that's why I want to stay. He promises to go to therapy. But right now all we can afford is an app, and it doesn't look too promising. It's not actual counseling though, but just a bunch of questions you answer and compare. And he says he'll go to church because he needs a stable connection with God. Says, but I don't think he'll go without me, and I don't want to go. I don't know if I should have to make that sacrifice when I'm not the one who cheated. I don't honestly know what I'm asking. Just for advice on what to do, I guess. He says if I change my mind about taking him back, then I let him on, and was ducking with his feelings, even though I tried to say no to get back with him for about 2 hours while he said please, another chance please, over and over again, until I gave in. But now I am cuddling again, and I don't know if I'm just settling. TDLR. I don't know if I love my boyfriend, but I keep taking him back, so obviously I do right. Do cheaters ever change? He has cheated 5 times. You always take him back. Why would he stop now? Also, the lack of respect from him that you are allowing is completely devastating to hear. Don't you think you deserve better than that? Don't you want to be with a person that loves you enough to stay faithful? Don't you want to be with someone that you know you can trust when they go out of town? Or out for the night? Or even as small as not having to wonder who he is talking to or texting with when he picks up his phone? Don't you want to be in a relationship where you know the person you're with cares about you and the future more than a couple of minutes of pleasure with another human being? You're 23. So young, and such an amazing time to be independent and figure yourself and what you want out. Don't let this guy ruin your life. If he treats you like this now, when you get older and ugly like we all do, you can expect him to lead you for someone younger, fitter, etc. He isn't going to change no matter how many times you forgive him. You don't deserve this, and no one does. But at some point you're just the fool that lets him keep doing this to you. Get the heck out of there and stay gone. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.